When I was invited to be the first foreigner on the Chinese dating show, I knew I was in a big trouble. Let's be honest, I'm not the most handsome guy here. And as the only one foreigner, I wasn't exactly a safe choice either. In a world where the first impression are everything, I felt like I had no chance at all. So I couldn't rely on my looks. The only thing I had in my hand was to show my inner world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying my inner world is beautiful or deep. No. But I wanted people to see it. You see mine, I see yours. Maybe then we might connect. But how do you let someone see your inner world? How can you bring something inside of you out so someone else can feel it? Well, you have to communicate, right? But here's the catch. There were 11 strangers, all speaking a language I didn't fully master. My ability to express myself in Chinese language is quite limited. So how can I communicate to connect with anyone here? But this was not my first time meeting strangers. I work for a tech company, and my job is communication. In the past 6 years, every day, I meet a stranger from all around the world. Presidents, top executives, influential figures. My job has been to communicate with the global leaders, explain technology, and therefore build a connection across cultures. Some of those communications had so much at stake that first I had to fix the way I talk. So I trained in executive communication, diplomatic communication. I even worked on my voice. I used to sound like a sad robot. Now I just sound sad. But out of all the techniques I have tried, none of them has taught me the real secret to communication. What did? My daily job, and unexpectedly, a dating show. There were two things that always allowed me to connect with the strangers. Those are clarity and authenticity. Let's focus on both. Let's start with the clarity. Why clarity matters. The thing is, we live in a noisy world. Information is coming from everywhere. Everyone is competing to be heard. In this world, your ability to express yourself, your big ideas, your complicated inner feelings, in a simple words, is your superpower. If you focus on expressing yourself with the clarity, your message will cut through the noise. This is especially true when you communicate across cultures, professional, emotional divides. But the biggest misconception, people say the most important communication skill is listening. But think about it. If the speaker isn't expressing with the clarity, will listening even help? No. Before listening matters, expressing with clarity matters. And the clarity doesn't mean perfection. We've been taught that clarity, any speech should be polished. It should be perfect grammar, flawless delivery. But in reality, perfect words don't connect people. What connects people? The real, clear expression. For example, in my case, Chinese and English, both second languages to me. My speech has never been perfect. I have an accent. I always mess up with words. But you know what? None of them matters. Because I learned the most important communication skill is not the language, it's your expression. Because your ideas, your feelings, only as powerful as your ability to express them. When you express them, well, you don't just explain, you create a space for connection. So let me give you some tips. How can you practice clarity? Out of all the techniques on a daily basis, I use two of them. First, focus on the simple words. When your ideas sound complicated, people will tune out. Express yourself naturally, conversational. Studies have found if you express yourself clearly, people will trust you more. But if you put it in number, you will be 23% more trustworthy. When your ideas are clear, simple, people don't have to work too hard to understand you. That's why your ideas will be easy to memorize. The second thing I do is the 70% rule. Is when you explain your emotion, your feelings, your dreams, don't give 100% of details. Give just enough to intrigue, not overwhelm. That's the 70% rule. So you can leave room for curiosity. You can ask them, let them ask questions, let them engage. So all this is your first step to connection. But clarity alone isn't enough. Good communication requires you to bring something inside of you out. In a tech world, when the two computers communicate, first, they send the weak signals to each other. This is to establish trust. And this is what we call handshake protocol. Only after this handshake, computers do fully connect. And humans work the same way. First, we send the small signals of vulnerability. Your feelings, your personal story, even the small pieces of your past. When someone picks up this signal, real connection begins. That's why good communication doesn't just share information. It evokes emotions. And the key to evoke emotion is what's called authenticity. What's authenticity? Authenticity is when you're being true to yourself. What you say, think, believe, all align. In psychology, they call it emotional genuineness. What you feel inside, how you express outside, matches. But the thing is, authenticity in your native language comes a little bit more natural. But authenticity in a second language might be a little bit challenging. So I struggled with this on the show. In a group gatherings, when we all get together, I kept quiet. Not because I couldn't say anything, but I was shy. I was afraid people was gonna mock my Chinese pronunciation. I might make mistake. So I kept quiet. But then after some time I realized, if I need to connect, I have to communicate. So I start to slowly embrace my foreignness. I start to embrace my mistakes, linguistic, cultural. I start to speak more. I start to share about my feelings, my background, my personal stories. In that moment, something has changed. I found my inner voice. So I was not a foreigner who was trying to be perfect in Chinese. I was just a guy who was trying. And the thing is, we go back to here. And the thing is, that's when I realized the biggest communication mistake you can make is not the saying wrong words. It's hiding your real self. Trying to be perfect will push people away. So you have to be real. You have to share your mistake, share your personal story. Only then, trust will be built. When the show has aired, after a few months, I went back home, Kazakhstan. I was with my family, with my parents. One day, producer sent me a video where the famous Chinese singer standing in a stadium full of fans and citing my words, the words I had shared on the show. The thing is, in my native language, in Kazakh language, we don't have a direct expression to say, I love you. We don't even have a verb for love. The only way we can express the feeling of love, we say, I see you clearly. Or in Chinese, it's similar to 我清楚地看见你. This moment felt amazing. I realized the power of slowly opening yourself up. Today, I speak 4 different languages. 4 languages belongs to 4 different cultures. Like any multilinguals here, when I speak one of those languages, I feel like a different person. But today I learned, no matter what language I'm speaking, I always ask myself, am I speaking with authenticity? Because the language of authenticity is the language of deep connection. When you speak with authenticity, you speak from your heart. Sometimes calmly, sometimes passionately, but always truthfully. Today, we live in a world where we hide behind filters. On social media, we use filters to make our pictures beautiful. We use AI to craft the perfect messaging. But in real life, when you meet someone face to face, there are no filters. There are no AI tools. What's left? The real you. You can be anything you want in a virtual world. But in real life, please, don't be afraid to be real. Because being real being authentic, only in that moment, true connection happens. It happens in the imperfections, not in the flawless, but in a real, raw, unpolished you. In a world of all of my ideas today I'm sharing about clarity, authenticity, if you want to have only one key message, think, in a face-to-face communication, clarity is like a window. It's like a clean window. It lets people see your ideas. And authenticity is the light behind the glass. It lets people feel your warmth. Together, they build a trust. Together, it creates a space where people feel safe, understood, valued. These two things, clarity and authenticity, gives your communication its soul. I still have one more thing to say. After the show ended, I went back, found the producer. I asked him, out of many foreigners in China, why did you choose me? There are many younger, better looking, with better Chinese. Why me? He smiled and said, because of your expression. I think I would be more happier if he said, because you're handsome. But it is what it is. So whether you're trying to express your job to a stranger, tell your friend how you feel, or share your heart with someone you like, remember, clarity makes your message understood. Authenticity lets people see the real you. Together, it creates connection. At the end of the day, we all came to this world to make a connection. That connection might be in the form of friendship, in the form of business, or in the form of love. I didn't find love on the show, but I'm grateful for that experience. But in case, if you ever find the love using my formula of clarity, authenticity, please remember to come back and teach me how you did it. 谢谢大家。